Can you believe it's been 10 years, basically a decade since Battle of Gods first came out? And without Battle of Gods, we would never have Dragon Ball Super, we would never have Black Frieza, Jiren, Ultra Instinct, Gohan Beast, Broly. We would never have any of these characters or concepts, not even the angels or gods of destruction. None of these characters, none of these ideas would exist without Battle of Gods. And how well does this film hold up like a decade later? Well, if you're not counting like the Dragon Ball Super adaptation of Battle of Gods, then yes, it is absolutely great. It's still such a great film. The visuals and everything about it, even though it was made a decade ago, it still holds up really well, as most Dragon Ball films do. Like, it always holds up. Something about Dragon Ball, like, I don't know if like people just love it or if the animation team just likes fighting or whatever the case is. It's always like Dragon Ball films in general have always had like this, like, I don't know, this tone, this aesthetic that just feels like stays, like it stays consistent. If you watch any of the older Dragon Ball films, any of the older anime, it still holds up to this day. Like, it absolutely holds up to this day. And to say Battle of Gods does not hold up, it's crazy to me. Like, if you hate Battle of Gods, then how? Like, how? I get it. It might not be for you. The new animation, the new 2013 animation might not be that good, but you gotta admit, it is pretty cool. The fight scenes, the music, everything about it, the concept, like, it is really good. Especially that one cave scene where Goku says, "I will not let you destroy my world," and then he screams. Like, that fight is absolutely insane. You want to know what's crazy about Battle of Gods? The fact that up until that point, we never had a single Dragon Ball film since like 1996. The last film was Path to the Dragon or something like that. Like, the last film we got in the Dragon Ball series and the Dragon Ball franchise was like a GT spin-off film and Dragon Ball GT. That was back in like the late 90s. So for 20 years, we were Dragon Ball less. We had like no Dragon Ball films, no new anime. We had tons of video games. We had tons of reruns of the show. Even despite it like ending like 20 years prior, like, the anime was still popular. You still had reruns of the show like on Toonami, on like other TV shows. Yeah, Dragon Ball Kai or something like that. Like, I remember being in Mexico in like 2013, 2012, watching Dragon Ball like in the Spanish dub version, which is honestly pretty good. If you haven't watched Dragon Ball in the dub version, go watch it. The Spanish Dragon Ball, it is pretty good. It is pretty good. So you gotta imagine being a fan in 2013, 2012, whenever Battle of Gods was first announced. You gotta just think how like much hype there was around this film, because this is the first film post 1996, the first anime, like official anime continuation that we've had in like over 20 years. So like, at that time, the hype for this must have been so unreal. And with the massive success of Battle of Gods, we got a sequel for 2015's Resurrection of F, which ultimately led to a new continuation of the Dragon Ball series with Dragon Ball Super. And I remember people being really skeptical about Dragon Ball Super because they announced it was gonna like rehash Battle of Gods and Resurrection of F into like a mini storyline and then like continue on with its own things. I remember the hate for that. Like, people were like, "Oh, why do we have to rewatch this? Why can't they just like make stuff based off the anime?" Well, it's gotta like take time, and since it already had like 2 scripts there, it like had to adapt it to the anime. That way they can make like original anime content. And even the manga had to keep up and re-update with everything because of that. And I think it did pretty good. Like, despite the flaws, ups and downs this series has gone through since the introduction of Battle of Gods, here we are today, 2023. We have Ultra Instinct, Jiren, all these other awesome characters. And we even now have a new Dragon Ball series called Dragonball Daima, which is supposed to premiere in 2024. This was announced back in New York Comic Con a few weeks ago. It's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy how much Dragon Ball has changed since 2013. So let's just talk about a little bit of Battle of Gods, because I'm getting off topic talking about the entire post 2013 future of Dragon Ball. So Battle of Gods, I think the concept is simple. It is simple, but it absolutely works. You might like it, you might hate it. For me, I think it's too simple for my taste, but the introduction of something higher than Super Saiyan 3, the introduction of gods and angels, is pretty smart. It is pretty smart, because how do you go like more powerful than Super Saiyan 3 than Mr. Gohan? How do you top Super Saiyan 4 Goku? What do you do to get more power? you introduce the concept of gods of destruction, and you introduce angels, and then you introduce the concept of God Ki, which the only way to get it was through a ritual or through hard work in Vegeta's case, which is absolutely brilliant because you gotta think about like this: the highest authority in like the Dragon Ball verse at the time was the Supreme Kais, and those guys are pretty weak. They're like what, Super Saiyan 2 level. Frieza could honestly knock them out. Majin Buu was able to like give a round or two to most of them back in the Buu saga. Like they showed most of the Kais being wiped out by Majin Buu, so introducing something that is like much more powerful than the Kais, and like the explanation for how Elder Kai got trapped in the Z Sword was because of Beerus, I think that was pretty brilliant. Like the story of Goku and them just kind of hanging out at Bulma's birthday party, and then Beerus goes there and then wants to pick a fight, find the Super Saiyan God. I think it's pretty simple. I don't want to talk too much about the plot because I'm pretty sure every one of you guys watching this video has seen Battle of Gods, has at least read it, seen it, or knows like a bit about it. We all know who Beerus is. We all know who Whis is. We all know who Super Saiyan God Goku is, but you gotta think about it like this: at the time when this first came out, there was no concept of God Ki. It was just Super Saiyan 3 is super powerful, he's gonna take down Beerus, but then seeing Beerus just slap around Super Saiyan 3 Goku like it was nothing must have driven fans like, whoa, what is this? How is this guy so strong? And when they introduced God Ki, when Goku finally gets his Super Saiyan God form, I think that must have been super hype. Like, yes, in theater, just imagine being in theater, just watching Goku get this new transformation, like this elegant form where he goes super skinny. It's not super crazy like those fan arts you've seen of Super Saiyan 10, Super Saiyan 100. I remember seeing fan arts of like Super Saiyan 100, Super Saiyan 5, Super Saiyan 6. That was insane, but I think what works in Super Saiyan God is how simple it is, how with the red hair, it's aesthetically pleasing and it is really good. Even like in 2018's Broly movie, you saw Vegeta finally use Super Saiyan God, and I really like Super Saiyan God. To me, it is one of my favorite God transformations just because of how simple and elegant it is. I think the red hair naturally represents fierce and like power and determination. I think that is absolutely brilliant. And with the film, it's so simple. Like he's even stated to be like stronger than Beerus because towards the end of the film when they're sparring, like Whis just like knocks out Beerus with one tap, even though it took so much for Beerus just to like knock out Goku. Like Beerus was using so much power towards the end of the film just for fun. Whis just kind of like taps him and he's knocked out, and fans probably went crazy seeing like Whis' power. Like, why doesn't he fight? Why doesn't he do anything? It wasn't up until like towards the end of Dragon Ball Super where they explained why the angels are not able to fight. I believe they introduced it during the Moro arc. Like they explained that the spoilers or whatever, that angels can't fight or they'll be erased from existence. Something about the angels' power, something about the god laws forbid like angels from fighting immortal beings. The Moral Saga explains that, but I don't want to get too much into that because that's spoilers. But yeah, Battle of Gods 10 years later, it still holds up. Something about Dragon Ball films, they always hold up. They're aesthetically pleasing and they're just so good. Like the fights, even if you hate them, Dragon Ball has always had such whatchamacallit, has always had such an impact on like almost every other anime in general. Like every other anime tends to reference Dragon Ball. Even if you hate Dragon Ball, Goku is probably still one of the best protagonists out there just because of how cool, how simple he is. Vegeta, he's a fan favorite. You got so many characters like in this film that show up and people love him. They love him even if they don't get spotlight or shine in this film. They get spotlight in like Resurrection of F, especially Vegeta. I know Vegeta didn't really get a lot of attention in Battle of Gods, but in Resurrection of F, he got a shine. But post Resurrection of F for Dragon Ball Super, we got like all of these characters getting love. Vegeta, Goku, Piccolo, Gohan, Frieza, new characters such as Jiren, as Zamasu, Goku Black. To me, Goku Black is probably one of the best like things to come out of Dragon Ball Super. Yes, saying. But yeah, it's really crazy how Battle of Gods has had such an impact on like the Dragon Ball community, on the Dragon Ball franchise in general, because without this film, none of these characters would really exist. In the state of Dragon Ball today, I really can't imagine where Dragon Ball would be today without this singular film, without the hype around this film, without its massive success. And it's crazy that it's been like 10 years since Battle of Gods. What the future holds for Dragon Ball, I don't know. I'm pretty excited. If you're not excited for Dragon Ball Daima, I understand. It might not be for everyone, but what happens after that? I really don't know. I'm excited to see where the manga goes, where everything goes following this. But yeah, this was just my video talking about Dragon Ball Battle of Gods. Did you like this film? Did you hate it? If so, what's your favorite transformation? Let me know down in the comments, and I'll catch you guys on my next one. Peace.